Maya Williams stepped out of her black sedan and handed the keys to the valet. The evening air was crisp, and the golden lights from Bella Vista restaurant cast a warm glow on the sidewalk. She smoothed down her navy blue blazer and checked her watch. Perfect timing. She was 15 minutes early for her business dinner, just the way she liked it. The restaurant looked exactly as impressive as she remembered from the photos. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed elegant dining rooms filled with well-dressed patrons. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, and she could see servers gliding between tables with practiced grace. This was exactly the kind of place that would impress her potential clients. Maya had spent weeks planning this dinner. As a lawyer at one of the city's top firms, she knew how important first impressions were. Tonight's meeting could secure a major new account for her company. The executives from Romano Restaurant Group were flying in specifically for this dinner, and she wanted everything to be perfect. She walked through the heavy glass doors and into the lobby. The hostess station was busy with the Friday evening rush. A young man with sandy hair and a nervous smile was juggling reservation books and seating charts. Behind him, an older woman with graying hair pulled back in a tight bun watched everything with sharp eyes. "Good evening," Maya said to the young host. "I have a reservation for 6 people at 7:30. The name is Williams." The host, whose name tag read Tyler, flipped through his book. "Williams, party of 6, yes, ma'am." "Right this way, please." Tyler grabbed 6 menus and started walking toward the dining room. Maya followed, noticing how the restaurant buzzed with conversation and the gentle clinking of silverware against fine china. She felt confident about her choice of venue. They hadn't made it 3 steps when the older woman stepped directly into their path. "Excuse me," she said, her voice cutting through the ambient noise. "Where exactly are you taking this guest?" Tyler stopped so suddenly that Maya nearly bumped into him. "Oh, Ms. Patterson, this is the Williams party. Table 12, the one by the window." The woman, whose name tag identified her as Lisa Patterson, manager, looked Maya up and down with obvious disapproval. Her gaze lingered on Maya's expensive handbag, then moved to her professional attire, then back to her face. "That table is reserved for a business party," Lisa said firmly. "I think there might be some confusion here." Maya felt a familiar knot forming in her stomach, but she kept her voice steady. "There's no confusion.
I am the business party."
"Williams, party of 6, 7:30 reservation." Lisa's eyebrows shot up. "You made this reservation?" "Yes, I did. Last week, actually. I spoke with someone named Jennifer about getting a table with a good view for my clients." Tyler shuffled his feet uncomfortably. "Ma'am, I have it right here in the book. Williams, 6 people, 7:30. Table 12, like we discussed." Lisa snatched the reservation book from Tyler's hands and studied it intensely, as if the words might magically change. When they didn't, she looked back at Maya with undisguised skepticism. "This is a very expensive restaurant," Lisa said slowly. "Our entrees start at $45. Are you sure you wouldn't be more comfortable somewhere else? There's a nice casual place next door that might be more suitable." The words hit Maya like a slap. She had eaten at restaurants far more expensive than this one. Her monthly car payment was probably more than most people spent on dining out, but she kept her voice level and professional. "I'm quite comfortable here, thank you. My clients are expecting to meet me at this location." Other diners were starting to notice the commotion. Maya could feel eyes on them, could hear the conversations at nearby tables growing quieter. Tyler looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Lisa crossed her arms. "What kind of business are you in?" The question caught Maya off guard. "I'm sorry?" "Your business. What do you do for work?" Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. "I don't see how that's relevant to my dinner reservation." "Well, this is a professional establishment. We cater to a certain clientele. Business executives, lawyers, doctors, people who understand fine dining." The condescension in Lisa's voice was unmistakable now. Maya felt her cheeks grow warm, but she forced herself to stay calm. She had dealt with people like this before, unfortunately. "I understand fine dining perfectly well," Maya said quietly. "I also understand good customer service, which seems to be lacking here." Lisa's face flushed red. "Excuse me? I'm trying to help you here. I'm suggesting you might be happier somewhere more appropriate for your situation." "My situation," Maya repeated. "And what situation is that exactly?" The lobby had grown noticeably quieter. Even the servers had slowed down to watch what was happening. Tyler looked mortified. "Ms. Patterson," he whispered urgently, Maybe we should just seat the guest. I mean, she has a valid reservation and— Tyler, please step back, Lisa snapped. I'll handle this. She turned back to Maya. Look, I don't want any trouble here. But this table is reserved for very important clients. Business people. I'm sure you understand. Maya felt something cold settle in her chest. She understood perfectly. She understood exactly what was happening here. Let me be very clear, Maya said, her voice steady despite the anger building inside her. I am a business person. I am here for a business dinner with very important clients. I made a reservation which your host has confirmed. I would like to be seated at my table now. Lisa shook her head firmly. I'm sorry, but I don't think this is going to work out. Perhaps you should try making a reservation for another evening. Maybe somewhere more fitting. The word fitting hung in the air like a challenge. Maya looked around the restaurant at all the other diners who were now openly staring. She saw a mix of expressions. Some people looked uncomfortable, others seemed curious about the drama, and a few nodded as if they agreed with Lisa's behavior. An elderly couple at a table near the hostess station had stopped eating entirely. The woman leaned over to her husband and whispered something. He nodded and they both continued watching. Maya realized this moment was about much more than just her dinner reservation. This was about every person who had ever been made to feel like they didn't belong somewhere they had every right to be. She pulled out her phone and scrolled to her assistant's number. What are you doing? Lisa asked suspiciously. Calling my office, Maya replied calmly. I need to let my clients know there's been a change of plans. As she waited for the call to connect, Maya wondered if Lisa Patterson had any idea what she had just started. Probably not. People like Lisa never did. Rachel, it's Maya, she said when her assistant picked up. I need you to call the Romano Group executives and move tonight's dinner to the Meridian Hotel restaurant instead. Yes, I know it's last minute. Tell them there was an issue with the original venue. Lisa's face went from red to pale as she listened to Maya's conversation. The words Romano Group seemed to register somewhere in her mind, but she pushed the thought away. Is there a problem here? Maya turned to see a tall, distinguished man in his 60s approaching. His expensive suit and confident manner suggested he was someone used to being heard. No problem at all, sir, Lisa said quickly, forcing a smile. Just a small misunderstanding about seating arrangements. The man looked from Lisa to Maya, taking in the obvious tension. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but overhear. Did you say this lady has a reservation? Well, technically yes, but— Lisa started. Then what's the misunderstanding? The man asked. If she has a reservation, why isn't she being seated? Lisa's jaw tightened. Sir, with respect, this doesn't concern you. I'm handling the situation. Actually, it does concern me, the man replied. I'm a regular customer here, and I've never seen a guest with a confirmed reservation treated this way. What's really going on? More people were paying attention now. Maya noticed a woman at a corner table discreetly holding up her phone, clearly recording. Another couple had stopped mid-conversation to watch the scene unfold. Look, Lisa said, her voice rising slightly. I'm just trying to maintain certain standards here. This restaurant has a reputation to uphold. We can't just let anyone walk in off the street and— Anyone, Maya interrupted. I made a reservation. I'm dressed appropriately. I've been nothing but polite. What exactly is the problem with me dining here? Lisa's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. She clearly wanted to say something but couldn't find words that wouldn't get her in deeper trouble. Tyler, the young host, stepped forward nervously. Ms. Patterson, maybe I could seat Mrs. Williams at table 15 instead. It's also a nice table and— Tyler, go back to your station, Lisa snapped. I told you I'm handling this. But she has a reservation, Tyler protested. We've never refused to seat someone with a valid reservation before. There's a first time for everything, Lisa said coldly. The distinguished man shook his head in disgust. This is unacceptable. Miss, what's your name? He asked Maya. Maya Williams? Ms. Williams, I want you to know that not everyone here agrees with how you're being treated. This is wrong and everyone can see it. His words seemed to embolden others. The woman who had been recording stood up. Excuse me? She called out loud enough for half the restaurant to hear. I've been filming this whole thing. This woman has done nothing wrong. She made a reservation. She's dressed nicely. She's been completely polite. This is discrimination, plain and simple. A murmur went through the restaurant. Some diners nodded in agreement while others looked uncomfortable and turned back to their meals. Lisa's face turned red again. Ma'am, please put your phone away. You're disrupting our other guests. I'm disrupting, the woman shot back. You're the one causing a scene by refusing to seat a paying customer for no good reason. A young server named Kevin approached the group hesitantly. Maya had noticed him watching from across the room. His face twisted with concern. Ms. Patterson, Kevin said quietly. Maybe we should just seat Mrs. Williams. Her clients are probably going to arrive soon. And, Kevin, this is none of your business. Lisa cut him off. Get back to your tables, but this isn't right, Kevin said, more boldly this time. I've worked here for 3 years and we've never treated a customer like this. Well, maybe it's time we started being more selective about who we serve, Lisa replied. The words hung in the air like a bomb. Even Lisa seemed to realize she had gone too far. Several guests gasped audibly. Maya felt a strange calm wash over her. In a way, Lisa had just made everything easier by saying what they both knew she had been thinking all along. More selective, Maya repeated. Based on what criteria exactly? Lisa's mouth opened, but no words came out. Because I'm curious, Maya continued, her voice still steady and professional. What makes you think I'm not selective enough for this restaurant? Is it my clothes? My manners? My ability to pay? What exactly? That's not what I meant, Lisa stammered. Then what did you mean? The distinguished man asked. Because it sounded pretty clear to me. More phones had appeared around the restaurant. Maya counted at least 4 people openly filming now. She wondered if Lisa had any idea how viral this was about to go. Look, I don't have to explain myself to any of you, Lisa said, her voice getting shrill. This is my restaurant and I decide who gets seated where. If you don't like it, you can leave. Actually, Tyler said quietly, it's not your restaurant. You're the manager. And I don't think Mr. Romano would appreciate how you're treating a guest right now. Lisa whirled on him. Don't you dare threaten me with Mr. Romano. He trusts me to run this place properly, which is exactly what I'm doing. Maya's phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it and saw it was from Rachel. New venue confirmed. Clients will meet you at Meridian at 8 p.m. Everything okay? She typed back quickly. We'll explain later. Please also call David Morrison and ask him to call me tonight after my dinner. Lisa noticed Maya texting and became even more agitated. Are you calling someone else? Are you trying to cause more trouble? I'm rearranging my business dinner since you've made it clear I'm not welcome here, Maya said calmly. That's probably for the best, Lisa said, relief evident in her voice. I'm sure you'll be much happier somewhere more appropriate. The woman with the phone shook her head. This is disgusting. I'm posting this video on every social media platform I have. People need to see how this place treats customers. You can't do that, Lisa protested. That's defamation or something. Truth isn't defamation, the distinguished man said. And everyone here saw exactly what happened. Maya gathered her purse and straightened her jacket. She looked around at all the faces watching her. Some sympathetic, some uncomfortable, some openly supportive. Then she looked directly at Lisa. You know what? Maya said. You're right about one thing. I probably would be more comfortable eating somewhere else. Somewhere that judges people by their character instead of their appearance. Somewhere that actually values good customers instead of driving them away. She paused at the door and turned back. Oh, and Ms. Patterson, you might want to brush up on your customer service skills. Something tells me you're going to need them. As Maya walked out into the cool evening air, she could hear the buzz of conversation exploding behind her. She had no idea that in a few hours hashtags about Bella Vista would be trending across social media. She had no idea that Lisa Patterson had just made the biggest mistake of her career. All she knew was that she had a dinner to get to, and some very important phone calls to make afterward. Maya sat in her car for a moment before driving to the Meridian Hotel. Her hands were shaking slightly, not from fear but from anger. She had dealt with situations like this before, but it never got easier. What made it worse was that Lisa Patterson had no idea who she was dealing with. Maya Williams wasn't just any lawyer. She was a senior partner at Morrison & Associates, one of the most respected law firms in the city. She specialized in employment law and civil rights cases. She had won settlements that made headlines and helped change policies at major corporations. But more importantly, her firm had been the legal counsel for Romano Restaurant Group for over 8 years. As she drove through downtown traffic, Maya thought about all the contracts she had reviewed for Romano Group, all the employment policies she had helped them draft, all the meetings she had attended in their corporate offices. Robert Romano himself had personally thanked her last year for helping them avoid a major lawsuit when a former employee tried to claim wrongful termination. The irony wasn't lost on her. She had spent years helping Romano Group maintain their stellar reputation, and now one of their managers had just created a potential legal nightmare for the company. Maya's phone rang through her car's Bluetooth system. It was Rachel, her assistant. "Maya, I have the Romano executives on the phone. They're asking if everything is okay. They seem concerned about the venue change. Tell them I'll explain everything when I see them." "Also, did you reach David Morrison?" "He's in court, but I left a message. He should call you back within the hour." "Perfect. And Rachel? Start a new file. I have a feeling we're going to need it." The dinner at the Meridian went better than Maya had hoped. The Romano Group executives were understanding about the venue change, especially when she briefly explained that there had been an issue with service at the original restaurant. They were more interested in discussing the new expansion deal anyway. Maya found herself studying their faces as they talked. These were good people who ran an ethical company. They would be horrified if they knew what had happened at Bella Vista. She decided to wait until after the contracts were signed before telling them the full story. By 9:30, handshakes had been exchanged and deals had been made. Maya's firm would be handling all the legal work for Romano Group's expansion into 3 new states. It was a multi-million-dollar account that would keep her team busy for the next 2 years. As the executives headed back to their hotel, Maya's phone buzzed. "David Morrison. Maya, I got your message. What's going on?" Maya told him everything, from Lisa Patterson's initial refusal to seat her to the manager's increasingly obvious discrimination. David listened without interrupting, but she could hear his breathing getting heavier as the story went on. "Are you kidding me?" he exploded when she finished. "At a Romano Group restaurant? Maya, we've been their legal counsel for almost a decade." "I know. That's why I wanted to talk to you before I did anything else." "What do you want to do?" Maya had been thinking about that question all through dinner. "I want to handle this properly. No knee-jerk reactions, no angry phone calls. I want to document everything, gather evidence, and then present it to Robert Romano professionally." "Do you have witnesses?" "Multiple witnesses, and at least 4 people were recording with their phones." "I'm sure some of that footage is already online." David was quiet for a moment. "Maya, you know I support you completely, but I have to ask, are you sure you want to go after one of our biggest clients?" Maya had expected this question. "David, they're not going after the client. We're helping the client. Romano Group has worked too hard building their reputation to let one bigoted manager destroy it. If we don't handle this properly, they could face lawsuits, boycotts, and terrible publicity." "You're right. Absolutely right. What do you need from me?" "I need you to call Robert Romano tomorrow morning. Don't tell him details over the phone. Just say we need to meet urgently about an incident at one of their restaurants. Let me present the facts in person." "Done. Anything else?" "Yes, I want to put together a full report. Timeline, witness statements, social media monitoring. I want to show them exactly what happened and exactly what the potential consequences could be." After hanging up with David, Maya drove home to her downtown condo. She poured herself a glass of wine and sat at her kitchen counter with her laptop. A quick search for Bella Vista discrimination brought up results that made her eyes widen. The videos were everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The woman who had filmed the encounter had indeed posted it on every platform she could find. The hashtag Bella Vista discrimination was already trending locally. Maya watched the videos with professional detachment. The footage clearly showed Lisa Patterson refusing to seat her despite having a valid reservation. It showed Lisa's increasingly hostile behavior and her telling comment about being more selective about customers. The comments on the videos were overwhelmingly supportive of Maya, but that wasn't what worried her. What worried her was the growing calls for boycotts of not just Bella Vista, but all Romano Group restaurants. People were tagging the company's social media accounts demanding explanations. Maya refreshed the company's Twitter PLIT. "I want Romano Group to implement a comprehensive anti-discrimination training program, and I want my firm to help develop it." "Pro bono?" Robert looked stunned. "Pro bono? Maya, that would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do." "What else?" Maya paused. "I want you to personally apologize to every staff member who tried to defend me last night." Tyler, Kevin, even the customers who spoke up. They risked their jobs to do the right thing. Robert made notes as she spoke. Anything else? One more thing. I want a public commitment that Romano Group will regularly audit their locations for discriminatory practices. Not just when something like this happens, but proactively. Consider it done. David shook his head in amazement. Maya, I have to say, this is not how most people would handle this situation. Most people don't get the chance to turn a negative experience into systemic change, Maya replied. I do. Robert stood up and extended his hand. Maya, I don't know what I did to deserve such grace from you, but I'm grateful. We'll start implementing these changes immediately. As they shook hands, Maya realized that Lisa Patterson had done something she probably never intended. She had given Maya the opportunity to make a real difference, not just for herself, but for every customer who would walk into a Romano Group restaurant in the future. The real work was just beginning. 3 hours after Maya left the Romano Group offices, Lisa Patterson was called into her manager's office at Bella Vista. She had spent the morning fielding angry phone calls and trying to understand why everyone was making such a big deal out of what she considered a minor incident. Lisa, we need to talk, said Tom Bradley, the regional manager who had driven down from corporate headquarters. Lisa sat down confidently. She had worked for Romano Group for 8 years and had never had a serious complaint against her. She figured this would blow over like everything else. Tom, I'm glad you're here. I think people are really overreacting to what happened last night. It was just a misunderstanding about seating arrangements. Tom placed a tablet on the desk between them. Lisa, I want you to watch something. He pressed play on one of the videos from last night. Lisa watched herself refuse to seat Maya, saw herself suggest that Maya would be more comfortable elsewhere, heard herself say that maybe it was time to be more selective about customers. Watching it from the outside, Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. It looked much worse than she remembered. Lisa, do you understand what you're seeing here? It's taken out of context, Lisa said quickly. You don't understand the whole situation. Then explain it to me. Lisa tried to gather her thoughts. This woman just walked in off the street, claiming to have a reservation for our best table. She didn't look like our typical clientele. I was just trying to protect the restaurant's image. Tom stared at her. Protect it from what? Well, from people who might not appreciate the level of service we provide, who might not understand fine dining. Based on what? What told you she wouldn't appreciate fine dining? Lisa opened her mouth, then closed it. She couldn't say what she was really thinking without making things even worse. Lisa, I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I want an honest answer. Did you refuse to seat Maya Williams because she's black? No, Lisa said immediately. It wasn't about that at all. It was about maintaining standards. What standards? Lisa fumbled for an answer. Dress code, behavior, the type of customer who usually dines here. Maya Williams was wearing a business suit that probably cost more than most people make in a month. Her behavior was completely professional. She had a valid reservation. So what exactly was the problem? Lisa realized she was trapped. Any answer she gave would either be an admission of discrimination or an obvious lie. Lisa, I've reviewed the security footage from last night. I've spoken to multiple witnesses. I've read the statements from our own staff members. Do you know what they all say? Lisa shook her head. They all say that you treated a paying customer with disrespect and discrimination for no valid reason. Tyler said you've made similar comments about other black customers. Kevin said you once told him to seat a Hispanic family, somewhere they wouldn't be too visible. Lisa's face went pale. She had forgotten about those incidents. But the worst part, Lisa, is who you discriminated against. Do you know who Maya Williams is? Some lawyer, Lisa said weakly. She's not just some lawyer. She's a senior partner at Morrison & Associates. They've been our legal counsel for 8 years. Maya Williams has personally saved this company millions of dollars in legal fees. She helped write our anti-discrimination policies. And you treated her like she didn't belong in one of our restaurants. Lisa felt like the floor was falling out from under her. I didn't know. It wouldn't have mattered if she was unemployed, Lisa. We don't discriminate against customers, period. But the fact that you did this to someone who has worked so hard to help our company succeed makes it even more inexcusable. Tom pulled out a folder. Lisa, your employment with Romano Group is terminated, effective immediately. Security will escort you out after we finish here. You can't fire me for this. I've worked here for 8 years. I've never had a single complaint. Actually, you've had several complaints. They were just never formally filed because the customers didn't pursue them. But this time is different. Lisa's mind raced. What about my severance? My benefits? You'll receive your final paycheck, but no severance. Your actions violated company policy and created significant liability for the company. You're lucky we're not pursuing legal action. This is ridiculous. I was just doing my job. Tom stood up. Your job was to provide excellent customer service to all guests. Instead, you discriminated against a customer based on her race and created a public relations nightmare for the company. The videos from last night have been viewed over 2 million times. We're facing calls for boycotts at all of our locations. Lisa felt panic rising in her chest. What am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to find another job if word gets out about this? You should have thought about that before you decided to treat a customer the way you did, Tom said firmly. Actions have consequences, Lisa. As security escorted Lisa out of the restaurant, she passed by Tyler and Kevin. Both young men watched her leave with expressions she couldn't read. Tyler looked relieved. Kevin just looked sad. Later that afternoon, Robert Romano held a press conference. Standing in front of Bella Vista Restaurant, he addressed the cameras directly. Yesterday evening, one of our managers engaged in behavior that is completely contrary to our company values. A customer was discriminated against and made to feel unwelcome in our restaurant. This is unacceptable, and I take full responsibility for allowing it to happen. The reporters fired questions immediately. Romano raised his hand for silence. The manager responsible has been terminated, but that's not enough. We're implementing immediate changes across all of our locations. Every employee will undergo enhanced anti-discrimination training. We're establishing a zero-tolerance policy for discriminatory behavior, and we're partnering with Morrison & Associates, one of the city's top civil rights law firms, to ensure our policies meet the highest standards. What about the customer who was discriminated against? One reporter called out. Maya Williams has shown remarkable grace throughout this process. Rather than seeking financial compensation, she has chosen to work with us to ensure this never happens again. Her commitment to positive change is an example we should all follow. While Robert spoke to the media, Maya was back at her office working on the training program she had promised to develop. David found her there at 8 p.m., still at her computer. Maya, you need to go home. You've been working on this for 12 hours straight. I want to get the framework finished tonight. Robert wants to start implementing changes next week. David sat down across from her desk. Can I ask you something? Why are you doing this? I mean, really, you could have gotten a huge settlement. You could have made Romano Group pay through the nose for what happened. Maya looked up from her computer. David, do you remember why I became a lawyer? To fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves. Exactly. And last night I realized something. I can fight for myself just fine, but there are a lot of people who can't. People who don't have law degrees or powerful connections or the confidence to stand up to someone like Lisa Patterson. She gestured to her computer screen, which showed the outline of a comprehensive training program. This training program will reach every employee at 47 restaurants across 3 states. If it prevents even one person from being treated the way I was treated, then it's worth more than any settlement. David smiled. You know, I think Robert Romano got the best possible outcome from the worst possible situation. He did. But more importantly, every customer who walks into a Romano Group restaurant from now on will get better treatment because of what happened last night. Maya's phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Jennifer Chen, the woman who had filmed the incident. Just saw the press conference. Thank you for turning something awful into something positive. You're an inspiration. Similar messages had been flooding in all day. From the staff members who had supported her, from other customers who had witnessed the incident, from complete strangers who had seen the videos online. But the message that meant the most came from Tyler, the young host. Ms. Williams, thank you for not giving up on us. Because of you, I think this is going to be a better place to work. 6 months later, Maya returned to Bella Vista for the first time since that night. The restaurant looked the same, but everything else had changed. Tyler was still there, now promoted to assistant manager. Kevin had been made head server. There was a new manager, Angela Rodriguez, who had been recruited from one of Romano Group's most successful locations. "Ms. Williams," Angela greeted her warmly. "We have your table ready, right by the window, just like you requested." As Maya was seated, she noticed something new on each table, a small card explaining Romano Group's commitment to treating all customers with dignity and respect. At the bottom was a phone number for reporting any instances of discrimination. Her dinner companions that night were Robert Romano and his wife. They were celebrating the successful completion of the training program, which had now been implemented at all Romano Group locations. "Maya, I have some news," Robert said as they looked over their menus. "We've decided to expand the program to our suppliers and contractors. We want everyone who works with Romano Group to understand our values." "That's wonderful. What prompted that decision?" Robert's wife spoke up. "Actually, it was something Lisa Patterson said during her exit interview." Maya looked surprised. "Lisa Patterson had an exit interview?" "She requested one," Robert explained. "She wanted to try to explain her actions. During the conversation, she mentioned that she thought she was protecting the company's image because that's what she assumed we wanted. She was wrong, obviously, but it made us realize that we hadn't been clear enough about our expectations. So we're making sure everyone who works with us understands that discrimination is never acceptable, under any circumstances." As they ate dinner, Maya looked around the restaurant. It was busy with the usual Friday night crowd. Families, couples, business people, all dining together peacefully. At one table, she noticed an elderly black couple celebrating what looked like an anniversary. At another, a young Hispanic family was trying to keep their toddler entertained. 6 months ago, Lisa Patterson might have found reasons to make any of these customers feel unwelcome. Tonight, they were all being served with the same level of respect and professionalism. Maya thought about Lisa Patterson sometimes. She had heard through the grapevine that the former manager was working at a chain restaurant in another city, making much less money and struggling to rebuild her reputation. Part of Maya felt sorry for her. But mostly she felt sorry for all the customers who might have been mistreated before anyone stood up to stop it. As Maya left the restaurant that night, Tyler walked her to the door. "Ms. Williams, can I tell you something?" "Of course." "That night when all this happened, I almost didn't speak up. I was scared of losing my job. But watching you handle everything with such dignity made me realize that some things are more important than keeping quiet. I'm glad you found your voice, Tyler." "Me too. And I want you to know that because of what you did, this is a place I'm proud to work now." Maya drove home that night thinking about the ripple effects of that one terrible evening. Lisa Patterson had thought she was protecting her restaurant's reputation. Instead, she had created an opportunity for real change that would benefit thousands of customers and employees for years to come. Sometimes the worst moments in life turn out to be catalysts for the best changes. Maya Williams had proven that with grace, determination, and a commitment to justice, even discrimination could be transformed into progress. The only question that remained was whether Lisa Patterson had learned anything from losing everything over a moment of prejudice. But that was her journey to make. Maya had already moved on to fighting the next battle for the next person who needed someone in their corner. After all, that's what lawyers were for.